Today we're gonna save Rise of Kingdoms by filling out this survey about whether or not they should put tier 6 into the game, question mark. We talked about this a little bit on stream, but I actually wanted to go through this and really put some thought into what it is the developers ought to be doing with Rise of Kingdoms. And so we'll take a stab at this survey that went out to a small number of customers. And as far as I know, this is an official survey. So it's a new age survey after having experienced the Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, Dark Age, and Feudal Age in Rise of Kingdoms. Would you be interested in a new 6th age? I interpret this to mean, do you want new tier 6 troops? Do you want more research? Do you want more buildings? And if you think for a second that your building speed-ups, research speed-ups, and other things you've accumulated will likely count toward getting this new age, let me just clue you in and say that is so unlikely. I would give that, honestly, like a 1 in 100 chance. The things you already have will help you on the way to tier 6, if that's even a thing. Personally, I'm gonna say that I'm probably not all that interested in more stuff to go and chase, because I suspect, like, I just look at this and I'm like, what is this going to add that's not just like, hey, you can rush to get more things. It's like crystal technology, but permanent. I don't know. I'm going to go with not at all interested. I think it is possible to do this in a way that would add something new, but I like, what are we going to get? We're going to get guns? What is the thing they're going to give that like makes that? I don't know. No, that's not really why I play Rise of Kingdoms. Next page. If you could advance your city to a 6th age, what would you like that to be? The modern age. We getting tanks, baby? I just don't think modern age makes any sense. We're going to get spaceships. We go to space. Enlightenment age, I would say, is interesting sounding. Gunpowder age, I'm just not interested. Like, no, I would rather have magic come into this game than guns, quite frankly. The industrial age, I don't know. I mean, it sounds appropriate, but boring. I feel like of all of these, either enlightenment or renaissance, I'm gonna go with, in this time around, I'm gonna say enlightenment. I go back and forth between the two, quite frankly. What aspects of advancing to a new age and rock do you like best? Oh no. So unlocking new buildings, new units, improved combat experience is the literal one and only thing. New building artwork and other. And I think we have to fill out other. I'll say, please focus on gameplay quality, not pay to win. Pay to win can be fine if it is somehow actually in service of gameplay quality, but that's very, very difficult to both spell, to accomplish. Okay, right? Like, I don't know. I look at this and I'm like, okay, so new pay gate to get all these things. That does not excite me, personally. Like, part of the fun with iconic crystals originally was that you couldn't just buy them all and then have them all. Like, you had to actually collect and make choices. And I like when you have to collect and make choices, right? Like, if it's just slapping a bunch of stuff on top that you can just buy in the shop, like, bruh. But if it's actually adding meaningful gameplay strategic choices, you have my attention, right? You have my attention. If a 6th age were added, what aspects of gameplay would you most look forward to changing? I would say combat, buildings, research, units, and commanders. I don't think so. Like, commanders are already, let's put this in other. Commanders, equipment, armaments, all these systems are already extremely complex. Given that you have to do all of them right for 7 armies at a time, plus many variations for all the other ways you play the game, right? It would be very bad IMO to make ROK even more complicated and micromanagement focused than it already is. Right? Like, if you improve the combat, I'm very intrigued. Why it is you need a new age to improve combat, I don't understand. But I'm also not a game designer. All right, up next. Which areas of human civilization or history are you most interested in? Music? Definitely not. Art? No, certainly not. Architecture? You have my attention. Crafts? Historical figures? Not really. Weapons and armor? Very poggers, right? Like, weapons and armor are freaking where it's at, man. But I'm like, what other weapons are you gonna do? I don't know, but weapons and armor are like the thing that interests me the most. I'd be very curious which of these you would pick. All right, next page. What historical cultures and civilizations would you like to see added to the game? To be honest, I don't particularly play for the history. I play for the gameplay. I especially don't play for the story. So please don't have any content behind a story wall at all. Even having to skip the story is feels like a huge waste of time. What famous historical landmarks or buildings would you like to see added to the game? To be honest, I'm not at all interested in historical landmarks or buildings being added to the game. But if you were to pick something, perhaps historical battlefields would be cool. Right? Let's see what's on the next page. Dude, what else is there? Have we got all the questions yet? Let's find out. What historical technologies and inventions are you interested in? To be honest, I'm more interested in magic than historical technologies and inventions. Guess that's why I started playing Call of Dragons. Lol. I'll be honest, all right? As a rock player, what else would you like the game's development team to focus on? It is very important to focus on quality gameplay. The recent changes we got, dude, this is how we save Rise of Kingdoms right here. Not necessarily that it needs saving, but you know what I mean. The recent changes to dot mode were huge, but keep in mind, we're talking about a game where in 2024, we were actually playing like 4 hours on end and days on end looking purely at dots. And I'm gonna put ... on that one. Right? Like, I would continue to push on quality of the gameplay experience while in KVK and creating more frequent KVK moments with less downtime and also less intensity of commitment, right? Like, not that occasional intense commitment is bad, but weeks on end of intense commitment is a bit much, right? Like, I'd love to be able to not sacrifice my life entirely to play KVK, which is what I do, right? So the reason that KVK is infrequent is presumably because the sacrifice is so great. But like, what if the sacrifice was not so great and the KVKs were more frequent? Also, there's a massive amount of downtime after a KVK is already decided. Players are stuck on the map, but ready to move on to what's next, but we can't, because we're trapped, right? And like, it is what it is. Once the Zig is captured, KVK should be over. The same is true in Call of Dragons. Like, once the dragon is taken, it's over. Most likely, one in maybe 1,000. Does it change around? It's over. Let's move on with our lives. I'm ready to move on. Instead, I just sit there kind of mentally kind of checked out, which is not ideal, right? So I think we kind of nailed it there. Overall, I think if the Rise of Kingdoms focuses on quality gameplay, it could kind of head in a cool direction. Now, with that said, I mean, like, when I look at my Rise of Kingdoms viewership on my videos, there is a reality, and the reality is it's going way down, and it's going down at a pretty fast rate. At least I think so. I don't know. I think that there are things that can absolutely revitalize the game and interest in the game. And I don't necessarily know that a new age is it, but I also don't know that it's not it either. Like, it is entirely possible that a new age done well actually goes in and revitalizes the game. And in that regard, maybe I am on board for a new age for Rise of Kingdoms. I mean, as long as it's not focused on pay to win and it's more focused on actual good gameplay experience, that would be huge. But if it's just like, yes, please pay more to unlock the new things, which is the same things you've been doing, it's just new paywall, like, bruh. That for me would be like, that's such an opportunity here. Yeah, I think in my perfect world, the game design gives us something meaningful and strategic to think about that's not overly complicated, like the armament system, which like requires an insane amount of micromanagement that like, it's mentally actually kind of exhausting for me, all right? If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, consider subscribing, and importantly, leave a comment. Should we get a new era in Rise of Kingdoms? What about that would make you happy? What about that would make you upset? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Oh, and if you want to see the stream where we were kind of talking about the survey and sort of going through it a little bit, check the card in the end screen.